Hi, it's Tom Hodson of Many Nations again. Now that you understand how your pension works, let's shift gears and talk about how to actually get the most out of it. Because small decisions here can have a big impact over time. The first opportunity many people overlook is voluntary contributions. In addition to the required contributions that come off your pay, you have the option to contribute extra into your pension. These additional contributions are not matched by your employer, but they still benefit from the same long-term investment growth and tax advantages, and that makes them a powerful tool. Here's why this matters. Your required contributions and employer match build a strong foundation, but voluntary contributions are where you can really take control of your outcome. Even an extra 1 or 2% of your income, contributed consistently over time, can translate into a significantly larger retirement balance. And the key word here is consistency. It's not about trying to time the market or make big one-time decisions. It's about building a habit of contributing regularly and letting time do the heavy lifting. Now, there are contribution limits to be aware of. In Canada, your total contributions, your own, your employer's, your voluntary, and any RSP contributions that you make outside the plan generally can't exceed 18% of your income. But for most people, that limit isn't a constraint. In fact, many employees are contributing well below that threshold, which means there's often room to increase contributions if you choose to. One of the advantages of voluntary contributions is flexibility. You're not locked into a fixed amount. You can increase your contributions when things are going well, reduce them if needed, or pause them entirely. Just let your payroll department know what you'd like to do. And if circumstances change, voluntary contributions can be withdrawn while you're still employed, although taxes may be applied. You have both structure and flexibility built into the plan. Now let's talk about investment strategy, because this is where your pension either quietly grows in the background or underperforms without you realizing it. In simple terms, your investment choices should reflect your time horizon. If retirement is many years away, you typically have the ability to take on more investment risk in exchange for higher long-term growth potential. As you get closer to retirement, the focus usually shifts towards protecting what you've built, which means moving towards more stable investments. But the most important thing is not trying to perfectly time these decisions. It's simply making sure your investments generally align with where you are in your career and your comfort level with risk. One of the biggest mistakes people make is being too conservative too early. It can feel safer in the short term, but over the long term it can significantly limit growth. Another common mistake is setting everything up once and then never looking at it again. Your pension doesn't need constant attention, but it does benefit from occasional check-ins. Once or twice a year is usually enough to make sure that everything still aligns with your goals. And finally, one of the most important habits you can build is making sure you're taking full advantage of your employer match. If your plan requires a certain contribution level to receive the full match, that should always be your starting point. That match is an immediate return on your money, and it's one of the few places in finance where you can get that kind of guaranteed value. So when you bring it all together, maximizing your pension really comes down to a few simple principles. Contribute consistently, take full advantage of employer matching, consider adding voluntary contributions when you can, and make sure your investments match your timeline. You don't need to overcomplicate it. The real advantage comes from steady, long-term discipline, not perfect decisions. Thank you.